Your tickets out and ready.
It's not all that often that a guy who writes about race can sell out a 3,000-seat theater on a weeknight especially.
Best-selling author Ta-Nehisi Coates pulls no punches in his writings about race relations in America.
His last, a letter to his son about the hazards of being a black male in America, spent 80 weeks on the New York Times list.
The boy with the small eyes reached into his ski jacket and pulled out a gun. I recall it in the slowest of motions, as though in a dream. There the boy stood with the gun brandished, which he slowly untucked, tucked, and then untucked once more. And in his small eyes, I saw a surging rage that could, in an instant, erase my body. That was 1986. That year I felt myself to be drowning in the news reports of murder, until the boy with the small eyes stood across from me, holding my entire body in his small hands. The boy did not shoot. His friends pulled him back. He did not need to shoot. He had affirmed my place in the order of things. He had let it be known how easily I could be selected. I took the subway home that day, processing the episode all alone. I did not tell my parents. I did not tell my teachers. And if I told my friends, I would have done so with all the excitement needed to obscure the fear that came over me in that moment. I remember being amazed that death could so easily rise up from the nothing of a boyish afternoon, billow up like fog. I knew that West Baltimore, where I lived, that the north side of Philadelphia, where my cousins lived, that the south side of Chicago, where the friends of my father lived, comprised a world apart. Somewhere out there beyond the firmament, past the asteroid belt, there were other worlds where children did not regularly fear for their bodies.
Do you have any hope tonight for the people out there about how we could be a better country, we had a better race relations, we have better politics?
No. My job is to look out on the world that I write about and be as honest as I possibly can about that. If that's optimistic and uplifting, okay. If it's not, okay. Well, the genesis of this book is 15 years ago, where my friend from Howard University, Prince Jones, was killed after he was mistaken for someone else within 200 yards of his fiance's home. Left a young daughter behind, left a mother, Mabel Jones, who was gracious enough to talk to me for this book behind, and it's just stayed with me, and I think it'll stay with me till the day I die.
Howard, for him, was an awakening, less about his classes, more about self-education.
You would need students from Africa here, students from the Caribbean.
So in this small space, the whole world.
Oh yeah. To be black in the Baltimore of my youth was to be naked before the elements of the world, before all the guns, fists, knives, crack, rape, and disease. The nakedness is not an error nor pathology. The nakedness is the correct and intended result of policy, the predictable upshot of people forced for centuries to live under fear.